Good afternoon, everyone. It's Cherise Jervis Hill from Events to Remember. We have a coffee with Cher session with the one and only Mike Dardano. Mike, let's cheers it up. Cheers it up. Where's your
Cheers.
mug? My mug is fading. Oh, there it is.
Disappearing. Yeah, it's like disappearing. There you go.
All right. So everybody, we are here with Mike Dardano from BuzzPotential. And for those of you that don't know, let me backtrack a little bit. For those of you that don't know about Coffee with Cher, it is a interview session where I talk with a local entrepreneur that's doing big things, and just to bring some different ideas, different perspectives for you and your business. So it's kind of just a chat time so we can kind of talk to other entrepreneurs and see what they're doing in their business. So Mike is like a marketing go-to. Mike is like the man. So I am so happy to have him here with us today. So Mike, tell us a little bit about your company and how you got started.
Sure. So back in the .com boom days, I ended up working for a friend of mine who had a company called Burst Media, and Burst Media did internet advertising. They aggregated ads through smaller websites, so it's kind of a cool thing. That's when Yahoo and AOL were all powerful.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, at 9/11, I lost my job, and so from there, I actually had to use the wedding money that my wife and I got to pay rent for a year because I had no income. So that's what we did for honeymoon, was pay rent. And I ended up going in December of 2001. I went to the Business Council of Westchester's holiday party.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in and met Marsha Gordon,
We love Marsha.
Yep, Stacey Cohen, Petula. I never can say Petula's last name; it's too hard. And a guy named David Haviland, and then John Singh. And John Singh used to work for Westchester Magazine. And from there, I started going to Business Council events and came up with an idea to do workshops called Ad Potential workshops that I did at a local office rental place, and I would go and do it. And then from there, I started working with Stacey Cohen at PR, and so this whole thing morphed into, okay, I'm going to do PR and learn that. And then I decided, well, let me have my own company that's also like a marketing firm that I can do stuff, because I was an independent contractor. And I took the name of my band at the time, which was Buzz Joy Love, Potential, and added Buzz and Potential together, and found out there was nothing on the internet that really said Buzz Potential, believe it or not. And then I just started doing, side jobs for people, marketing and PR and stuff like that. And then in 2011, I kind of started my own thing, and it just morphed into sort of a total marketing company, but really just for small businesses. I don't go for big companies. I mean, I'll do projects for people now and then, but really I like to know the owner. The owner, I feel that knowing the owner, you're embedded with them. And in some cases, I've made salad for one owner. I babysit other owners thing. I go to owners' birthday parties. I took pictures at one owner's birthday party. So I get embedded with the owner, and you can't do that when you go after large firms. If you get embedded with them, it's usually a scandal in the New York Post. But anyway, so that's kind of what happened. And then social media came about, and that's I found that interesting, and that sort of became a niche. And I do things in social media that other players don't do, and I compliment other companies that do certain things on social media, kind of creativity, but I focus on organic content. So it's very niche. I only get new clients that are referrals. I don't solicit. So it's a nice sort of below the radar thing, and people bring me on for certain things, and you and I've worked together where you said, Mike, can you help me? I come and I do my thing. So it's a nice, it's hard, you eat what you kill, but it's a nice spot to be in, I think.
No, definitely. Well, I learned some new things about you today that I didn't know, so that's pretty awesome. All right, so Mike, tell me, I mean, you work with a ton of folks, but what sets you apart? Because marketing, I mean, we do some marketing. Everyone does marketing in some way, shape, or form. Like, what sets you apart from your competition?
One of the things that I do that's different, I believe, is I stay in my lane. And I know it's been tough because think about how, our businesses have changed. Your business has changed.
Yeah.
Every people and there's a lot of wonderful firms that are in this county and their businesses changed as well. But what I think I always thought and always believed in was I'm going to stay in my lane, what I know about. So I dabbled in a few things like working on, creating websites and stuff. And it was a horror show. It didn't work out well. So I know what to outsource and push to other people, and I know what I can help with. But one of the other things that is important is that I try to be a go-to person to give information or to direct people to who they could use. And that's one of the things. I don't need to have all the business under my roof. I don't mark up anything, by the way. If I use a third party, here's my rate, here's what it is. I don't mark up advertising. I just get paid an hourly rate for that. I don't need a commission. So that level of confidence and comfort is something that I think is, it's not that other people don't have it. It's just for the kinds of companies that I deal with, they're small. They've been burned by other marketers that kind of overpromised and underdelivered. And so that's one thing. The other thing is that I really try to be embedded in where I am. So whether it's Westchester or northern New Jersey, the Bronx, Fairfield County, I focus on the markets that I know, where I can go, where I can visit. I know what's happening. I know where the bodies are buried. And that's another reason why I'm able to work with other firms that are actually marketing firms for other clients, because they know I'll go in, I'll do my thing, I'll help them out, I'll stay in my lane, and I don't need to steal that client from them. That's not my thing. I'm trying to help them. So people have a confidence that I can work with Mike. He's going to do what he says he's going to do, and deliver what he needs to, and make me look good. And that's what I want to do. I want to make my clients look good, and the people that use me to look good. So I mean, marketing knowledge, I'm not like Nostradamus and stuff. I'm like everybody else. A lot of it's trial and error, but I'll be honest and blunt about stuff and what I can't do. And that integrity and honesty is something that's embedded in me. You're like that too. And that's the difference between us and then maybe some other fly-by-night firms or firms that are just worried about, let's get all the business I can, but not necessarily give it the quality that it needs. And so that's sort of, and plus giving back. And you do that too. The give back to the community. I have to give back. So I volunteer a lot, and people see that. People see when you're volunteering and you're giving back to the community, they notice that. And they go, you know what? You may be doing the same thing that Fred or Sally is, but I see that you give back to the community. I like that. I want to work with you. So that's another.
And one thing that you're leaving out, one of the things that I absolutely love is that I see you promote every way that you can. So like Stacy, for example, Stacy is a friend of mine and a client. Mike is she's a client of Mike's. And we were both at an event last week. Early last week. And Mike had on, Stacy's running for office, and Mike had on her button. You know what I mean? It's like he always does little things like that. It's like you'll wear a client's shirt or you'll wear a client's hat. And that's something that I love that you do. I think it's just a small touch, but it's a great way of helping promote a small business. So
no, I have millionaire, if you can see it. I have millionaire shirt on now. Last year was their 35th year. And also, you're right, Charisse. I also, whether they're a client or not, if there's someone I respect and like, I will, share it and wear their stuff. So obviously my clients get priority, but if someone gives me a cool shirt and I like it, I'm like, I'm wearing that bad boy. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, you're right. And that's unique. That's very unique. Not a lot of people do that. And I get noticed for that. And that just happened. It wasn't something like, I'm going to wear everybody's stuff. It just,
that's just you wanting to help your clients. So
Correct.
That was something that you forgot about that I wanted
Thank
to
you.
just, add, because I think that's one of the ways that you set yourself apart. So let's talk about change. There's been so much change the past couple of years. Change really everywhere. And change, you know what? Change is going to happen. You either, you you go with it or you sit by the wayside and then who knows what happens. You have to change. I mean, you mentioned how we both have changed our businesses over the years because that's just what happens. So talk about some of the change that you're dealing with, like on social media. I know you do a lot on social. Tell us about some of the changes that, ways that you've adapted your business or adapted strategy for some of your clients.
Well, it's interesting. A bad change has been technology. And what I mean by that is we are so dependent on technology. My phone died at the black screen of death last Saturday. Yeah, I didn't know it was called that. I looked it up and it's like the black screen of death. I'm like, all right, sounds like the bubonic plague or something, but it kind of is, because when the phone died, immediately it's like, okay, how am I going to post on Instagram? Well, there are ways around it. There are workarounds. There's actually a browser called Velocity that lets you post. You just can't tag. And I did find something else that supposedly is pretty good. There used to be a thing called Grambler that allowed you to have basic functionality where you could tag people too. Doesn't work anymore. But it's something else that I found that I want to load and test it to see if it works, and I'll let people know. But that was a huge deal. I couldn't get phone calls. I don't have a landline. I can't be my wife, Sue, hi, I'm on my wife's phone. Hello. So that doesn't work. And because of that, I missed some meetings because I didn't have my phone on, and it's just ugly. So the reason I didn't get a phone right away is there's photos on there that I hadn't backed up. So I decided, I kept the phone. I'm getting a replacement. It's very expensive. Just so you know, as an FYI to you and your listeners, if you do that and you have stuff in your phone you want out, I'm getting quotes of $400 to $3,500 to take.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it can be done. Anything can be done, even if if a drive crashes, but it's expensive. So I'm going to get it done, just not for $3,500 and whatever. But that's made us so dependent on technology, which is unfortunate, because then when something happens, you can't do your job, and clients are like, well, what's going on? Why don't you have a phone? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that's tough. I mean, I'm like, well, I got a carrier pigeon. Does that work? And it's funny the first day, but not the seventh day.
Oh my gosh, 7 days. That just, like when you said 7 days, I'm like, I can't even, it's like I'm having like a caffeine situation just from hearing that.
Right. Well, that I had to actually this weekend, I had to use my camera. I haven't used my camera in a long time instead of my cell phone. But,
Wow.
It is what it is. So that's a challenge. So you always make sure that you got a plan A, B, C, and D. I'm going to get a second crappy phone, have it as backup. I talked to a lot of people. So all these things I'm going to do. So that's been a challenge. But also it's a benefit because everything's online. You can do things you couldn't do. Traditional press is becoming harder and harder as the media shrinks, or as they have less people doing things. They get Gina Valentino, who I saw last week, who is Home Magazine. Sorry, I don't know why something's going on with my disc here. Let me just check this out. She was telling me she's getting a couple hundred emails a day, and she's the editor now for Home Magazine, Westchester Home Magazine, and like most of them are useless. They're not even relevant to her.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to manage our technology to our advantage. The second thing that's really critical is the fact that social media has become arguably one of the most important channels to market your business. But it's nuanced, and it's not all black and white. It's gray, it's green, it's blue. It's a lot of things you have to be careful of. And what I see a lot happening now is that, okay, people have gotten a basic page up, great, and they've got their information up, great, and they're posting stuff. Okay, but they're posting stuff and they're not doing anything with it. They're posting it. It's all usually promotional, nothing about what they're doing in the community.
Yeah.
And they're doing some paid stuff, which is okay, but it's sort of generic targeting. So they're not really getting granular. And for small businesses, and I'm talking about specifically for that audience, you have to get granular. IBM can do whatever they want, and MasterCard and stuff like that. But smaller businesses have to get granular. They have to show that they're part of community. What COVID showed us was that people want local people and businesses working together and helping each other. Regardless of where you fall in the political spectrum, local is good. And so that's sort of difficult for people, because sometimes people are, well, I don't want to brag. Well, you're not bragging. You're putting up stuff for Support Connection. You've worked with them for years. It's not bragging.
Yeah.
It's your helping support connection and helping, who they service. There's nothing wrong with that, but some people have problems with that. So that's one thing they have to get over with. And the second thing is you got to stop people are smarter today. The whole promotional sell on social media, it's turning people off. They're sick of it, especially the last, 18 months. They've been looking at social all the time. And if you just do promotional posts, you're gonna be like, you're making me vomit. I can't deal with this anymore. I don't want to, no. You got that on TV, right? When you watch TV and you're like, oh boy, great. Give me another piece of that Kit Kat bar with a vampire in there. It's like, no, give me a gummy from Massachusetts, then maybe we'll talk. But I don't care about your Kit Kat crap. And so I think that change it's not really change, because if you and I are talking as people, we're going to interact in an organic manner, and we're going to discuss things in an organic manner. And people don't realize that's what you do on social media. You have a conversation, discussion. And the other thing is the shrinking media landscape. It's tough. Our friends in media, I love them dearly, but they're overtaxed and overworked. So you have to make it easier. Easier. Yeah. News 12, here's a good example. News 12 and Channel 2 were interested in an event this weekend that Wartburg did, and they're willing to take video from Wartburg of that event. Years ago, that wasn't the case. Not that long ago, right? It's like, well, take the video. So you have to be able to prepare for that. Well, what if you're not? Like, oh, okay, I'm going to give them a 20-minute video. No, they don't want a 20-minute video.
They don't want it, yeah.
They want to edit. So it's all crisp, short sound bites. It's something that you have to be able to turn on a dime for them. And they don't want to see a 2-page press release. They don't want to see a press release with all kinds of quotes from government talking heads. And that's hard, because politically, sometimes in the business, you've got what the company wants and then what the media wants, and that doesn't meet. And unfortunately, it has to meet. So that means that a company has to say, you know what, this ego crap that I'm putting in my press release has to go.
And I think we have a responsibility to kind of tell those things to our clients, and that's something that I do. I know that's something that you do. And I think the clients have to be open to hearing that feedback. You know what I mean? Because we're there, we hear what the media has to say. They don't want it too much. I need quick, I need concise, to the point. And I think that, and that's something that's different. That's a change. And I think that our clients have to be open to accepting that feedback, because that's what helps us get them placements.
One of the ways you could work around it is you could actually do 2 press releases if you want. You could do the ego press release that goes on your website, and then maybe you post on some social things, right? And then post it where you can, like American Towns, which you can post anything on, right? But then for the media, you have a more concise, sexier, more, more informative release that is going to maybe be of interest to them, because it's going to be of interest to their readers. And that sort of a 2-pronged approach could satisfy the powers that be, and then it also can give maybe the media to do it. Sometimes it takes a little more time, but it's worth it, because you and I and other PR firms that are sending this stuff out, that's like, it's a reflection on us too. Yeah. And we don't have one client, we have multiple clients. So XYZ from Channel 4 is going to, hear these pain in the necks from blah, 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 from it's sending me garbage that I can't use, And we've actually, we've sent releases that we didn't like, and we've actually said, sorry, we got to do this. And they're fine, because we have a relationship with them, and say, look, I'm sorry, we got to send this, but because I don't want to, they're like, what is this? And we just, not very often, but occasionally we do, because the relationship that we have, or even a business has with a media outlet, is too important to jeopardize over some ridiculous, ego thing that someone wants to put out. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right. So last but not least, I like to leave a tidbit of information for someone who is considering starting a business, or someone who's been in business for a long time, who might be having a hard time and they're kind of revamping or restructuring. What kind of advice would you give to a new business owner starting out? Some parting words that you think would be beneficial for them?
Well, one thing I would say is keep your social posts non-political.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because we're so divided as a country that it's funny because people, oh, it's on my private page. It's not private if you have it as public on Facebook. And if you do something that's anti-Trump or anti-Biden, basically around here, it's 50-50, and you're going to alienate half your potential customers. It's not worth it. If you feel the need to post something, then just post something in your cellar and you can yell and scream, because if you do that, you're going to risk having someone that say they want to boycott you. And freedom of speech is only when the government tells you what not to say. If something that's controversial, you have to be able to accept the consequences of that. So that's one thing I would say, too bad, don't post. If you do, then you have to be able to accept the consequences. And most people aren't. They aren't.
Yeah.
They want to just post and say whatever I want, but they don't want any recrimination. So that's one thing. Second thing I would say is that there's so much research available now. You can Google anything. You can see anything on YouTube. I fix stuff all the time because of YouTube, installing light things. And my wife goes, "Oh, you're so handy." I'm like, "No, I'm not. YouTube's handy." I don't know what to do. Duct tape. That's what I do. But I would say you've got all this research. So anytime you want to do something, you should research it first. Ask people questions. If you're a member of the Hudson Valley Gateway Chamber or the Business Council or whatever group you're a member of, ask some members about that question that you have before you leap into things, because you've got so much information at your fingertips, where before, years ago, we had Encyclopedia Britannica, which was out of date. Then you could ask some sage, and the sage was usually, I knew stuff in the 30s. Well, that doesn't count. It doesn't work anymore. So there's no excuse not to do research. You don't have to pay $1 million, but there's no excuse not to do research. See what your market is. You could do testing things on social media. Maybe you want to launch a new product, but you want to see what the response is. You can test it on social media. So you can really use the internet and the digital channels to really research and refine what new things you're going to do, what business you're going to launch, get some R&D at a fraction of what it would have cost to do years ago. And the other thing is shut up and listen. Listen to people, listen to comments. Don't have preconceived notions. Be accepting of gray, because not everything's black and white, and then be able to adapt as things change, because if you can't adapt, then you will fail.
Yeah. Awesome. Great advice. All right. So Mike, where can they find you? Give us the details of where they can find you.
Besides, hanging out, cleaning up garbage, that's what I've been doing lately, picking up street trash in Tuckahoe. I'll catch you if you throw anything out. I am a pure social media connection person. I don't have a website, which some people cringe at, but that's okay, because I don't have to maintain it either, which is awesome.
True.
Right. But on LinkedIn under Michael Dardano, and on Instagram, BuzzPotential, on Twitter, BuzzPotential, and on Facebook, BuzzPotential. You can find me, and I answer my messages and whatever, and anything, questions, whatever. If you need help of who's a good photographer or who's a good event person, whatever. I'm more than willing to share that information with people. It doesn't have to be about you hiring me. That's cool.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you. This has been awesome. And looking forward to seeing you at the next event.
I'll see you at the Support Connection Walk.
That's right. I'll see you there.
Monday. All righty.
All right. Thanks.
Take care.